Hello, we are going to talk about how to dominate expired and canceled listings. And I want to start out by just really expressing what a great opportunity is to go out and get some immediate business working with homeowners who tried to sell their home and for one reason or another were unable to get it sold. Expired and canceled listings give us the opportunity to earn immediate business, getting signs up in the front yard, build immediate momentum, and create future business down the road. So I'm going to break this into two sections in a sense. Number one, we're going to talk about the expired and canceled listing that shows up today, tomorrow, and the next day. Those are the immediate expired listings. But we're also going to talk about a little bit older expired listings, individuals who's took their home off the market in April or May, something happened then, now it's July, and they might be ready to relist, and it depends on who's communicating with them still on who they decide to list with. So dominating expired listings is really a combination of some things. So I've used this word quite a bit when we're talking about lead generation, lead follow-up, and I've talked about being disruptive. So let me tell you a couple things real quick that's going on with expired listings. You have services like the REDX, REDX, and Land Voice that download every single day all the expired and canceled listings. They do a pretty good job in each case of searching if they've been relisted and finding phone numbers and seller information. That's the good news. The bad news is they sell that information to hundreds of realtors. So they're selling the same lead to hundreds of realtors and giving the phone number to hundreds of realtors. And guess what? In today's marketplace, this is July 2015, I'm updating this. A lot of the homeowners are experiencing initially a lot of phone calls. Look, those two services that I referred to are both great services, and you'll find more information about them in the attached PDFs to this session. They're good services. I know real estate professionals that use those services. It's time on task. They start first thing in the morning and they just dial for dollars, and they're selling 100 homes a year. So part of it is a matter of who are you and what price are you willing to pay to get your unfair share of the expired and canceled listing market. One of the other techniques that we see is just getting to the front door. Well, one of the challenges of saying, hey, you know what, those expired listings are close enough to where I work, they're close enough to me, I'm going to get to the front door, is when do you actually catch the homeowner at home? So here's what we know for sure. If you get to the front door at 10 a.m., your chances of catching the homeowner at home are not nearly as great as if you waited till 5 p.m. If you go Saturday at 10 a.m., your chances aren't nearly as great as if you went late Saturday afternoon or early Saturday evening. So when we're talking about being disruptive in our lead generation, and we talked about using an 8x8 follow-up system for current expired listings, if the listing expires today, that could be 8 touches in 2 days, 8 attempts to get a hold of that homeowner. I do an audio session. So you'll see an audio file that says talking with expired listings, and you'll see another audio file that says talking with for sale by owners. So you're going to want to review the audio files as well, which are in other sessions on with this course, so you get a little bit of idea of what the conversation's about. But here's what I know for sure, is the agent with the most urgency that either calls at 8, you didn't get them, they're not home, calls again at 10, you didn't get them, they're not home, calls again at 1, calls in the evening, that's the agent that's going to win. It's not even necessarily scripts, dialogues, what do your materials look like. Those are just support systems. The agent that is passive in working with expired listings may have the best materials, full color, awesome materials, great information, free reports, but if you don't meet the expired listing, if you don't talk to the homeowner, all you're doing is setting the table for someone else to get the listing. You're positioning the homeowner to realize, hey, I need to relist, but they're still not necessarily understanding that they want to relist with you. I talk about it all the time. We're not going to find the perfect letter, the perfect mailer. Look, if you're mailing 500 expired listings and you're going to mail them 8 pieces in 8 days, you're going to get some business. Most of us don't have that kind of a budget. Most of us don't have enough people working for us to facilitate getting that out. If you want a direct mail, you just have to play a bigger number, and then you're going to get some business, no question about it. Best practice is have the phone number, get to the front door, and also maybe do some mailers. Do some mailers. All right, let's go back to the RedX, LandVoice, Vulcan. These are some of the services that for a small amount of money, really they're like a personal assistant. So each day they're going to identify you which properties in the MLS expired, and you even get to decide on where and what the criteria is. So you have a lot of control of that. You'll have more people to contact, but you'll need to work a broad area depending on where you live. So if you live in Los Angeles or Orange County, California, you're going to have a lot of expireds. But if you live in the outer areas and the communities are 20,000, 30,000, 40,000 people, you're probably going to have to expand your area depending on where the market is to have enough expired listings to work with. So here's the process. If it expired today, urgent, disruptive, get to the door, get on the phone. We recently used one of those rotodialers to make a lot of phone calls to expired listings. And one of the features of the rotodialer, we were using LandVoice, is the ability to leave a message. And we thought that might be a pretty cool test. So we left over 350 messages. In other words, the person didn't pick up. We were able to simply click leave a message, and the message that we'd prepared was left for the homeowner. We got no return calls on the messages other than the people that were ticked off because they realized it was a rotodialer. And they realized it because not only did they see us leave that message then, they saw the same phone number when we attempted to contact them with other phone numbers. So leaving a message may or may not work. I'm just telling you, if you think leaving a message absolutely will work, that's not been our experience. Our experience is if you don't get them live, hang up and dial again later to try to catch the person live on that expired listing. If you're going to go to the front door, either do it at 7:30 in the morning or do it later, at least when school's out, into the evening. If you don't catch them that evening, go back the next morning. This is urgency. But here's the exciting thing about it. Now, see, that sounds like a little bit of work. Yeah, it is, but number one, you get paid a great commission. Number two, these are people holding up their hand and saying, we need to sell, and we just fired our realtor. And we don't really have a realtor now. We want to sell is a lot easier than just blindly going out and door knocking a neighborhood and hoping to find someone. So this is a targeted lead. It's a targeted market. It can be all of your business. You could just work expired listings in some markets, and that's all you would have to do. Or it could just be a part of your business. So we go back to that route, and we're looking at that route. We're looking at that geographic area. Oh, we've got a for sale by owner there. We've got 2 people that we recently talked to in a geographic farm, and we have 5 expired listings. They're all within 1 mile. It's 4 o'clock. This afternoon, I'm going to go stop by on that for sale by owner appointment I have, and when I get done with that, I'm going to go visit those 4 or 5 expired listings. I'm going to go visit them. I dropped a packet there yesterday. They weren't home. I'm going to knock on the front door, make sure they got the packet, and find out if I can help them. Dominating expired and canceled listings is urgency when it just expired. Most expired listings, or let me break it down this way. If there's 100 expired listings, 10% of those will normally relist right away. And some of them will relist with the same realtor. So 10% are going to relist right away. Another 25% of them will relist probably within 6 months. So all the energy and phone calls that are made are usually made only initially in the first week or 2 that expired listings hit the market. And I found out from making the calls myself that at the first of the month, when there's normally more expired listings, the old expired listings tend to get more phone calls. So right at the first of the month, even the old expired listings are getting more phone calls. So that tells me that realtors focus on it for a very short time, but then they're not really staying on it. They're not understanding the importance of 8 touches. Is it 8 touches in 2 days? Is it 8 touches in 2 days, they've decided not to list yet, and now it's 8 touches over the next 8 weeks. It's staying in touch with these individuals who held their hand up and said they want to sell their home. On the older expired listings, it's just continuing to make a phone call. You have their phone number. If they're in your geographic area, why wouldn't you still stop by every month or so and see if anything has changed? Because just because they say they're not selling now, that really doesn't mean no. It just means not yet. Ultimately, your goal, again, is to become their go-to realtor. Using the content that we've looked at, like from Keeping Current Matters, that's focused on interest rates and the cost of waiting. Make that part of your conversation. Well, I understand that you folks were getting ready to move, and with prices heading upward and interest rates heading upward, I don't know if I understand why you're waiting. Using your sales from your office on Just List and Just Sold is important. So you want to show these individuals that you've been successful selling homes. That's part of your marketing package. That's part of your mailers. That's part of your drop-off. That's part of your packet. If you haven't recently sold homes or you're new in the business, normally your office, your broker, has a policy of how you use homes sold and listed in the office. You're just not probably going to say, I just sold this. It's new listings or recent sales. You just can't say, I, Gene Bronkowski, sold this, because you didn't actually do it. You're going to always offer, if you haven't gotten the theme yet, always let people know on your materials that you offer rental service. Some of these people that have an expired listing are going to rent the property out and go buy a home. Why not handle the rental for them and help them buy a home? Handle the rental for them and help them buy a home. Some of them may have already rented the house out, and you'll notice that. Well, call them anyway, because they can sell the home with the tenant in the property, and a lot of them don't know that. A lot do not understand that you can sell their home even with a tenant in the property. You're going to give them an updated CMA, but what I recommend is that you're always talking about a price range. So based on the research I've done for you folks, I see your home selling within $349,000 to $379,000, $369,000. Your last asking price was $355,000, so I see no reason that we can't get your home sold. But you need to see the property. Kind of give them a range when you do a new CMA. Remember to always talk about and have resources that show what your award-winning marketing plan is. And you know what? We don't have to make that complicated either, because nowadays, when you input listings into the MLS and on the internet, it goes to a lot of websites. So really, you want to take your marketing plan and just do bullet points. Do bullet points that take every step of what you do as part of your award-winning marketing plan. If you don't have award-winning marketing plan, your broker clearly does. So it's your award-winning marketing plan. You want to have that with you. You want to offer them professional referrals for appraisers, loan offers, handyman. We're talking about, again, becoming their go-to realtor. Look, there's several different approaches to working with expired listings. I'm not going to cover them in this marketing piece, but I do in the audio section. But I'll tell you what the most effective approach is. The most effective approach, especially on the new ones, is making that phone call, getting that number. If you have to use the Red X or one of those services, great. Now you've got the phone number. And the conversation is simple. Hi, this is Gene with Realty One. I know you're getting a lot of phone calls. I'd like to apply for the job of getting your home sold. When are you interviewing agents? I'd like to apply for the job of getting your home sold for top dollar. When are you interviewing agents? It's a direct approach with expired listings. Ask for the business. If you spend too much time getting into relationship, they're probably going to hire someone else. The relationship part comes when a couple of weeks have gone by and they still haven't put their home on the market. Or you've gone and researched and you've said, hey, you know what? I'm going to research my whole area. Wow, those homes expired 3 or 4 months ago. Well, those people don't even know they're an expired listing. They don't consider themselves that. So they expired 3, 4 months ago. I'm going to go to the front door and say, hi, I was just in the neighborhood. And gosh, I seem to remember, didn't you guys have your home on the market last fall? When are you planning on moving? Where are you going to move to? Are you thinking about putting your home back on the market? For me, I'm just going to be real direct. And think about it. If you're doing a geographic farm and you have expired listings in your geographic farm, they're getting something from you every single week at the front door anyway. So they know who you are. Why wouldn't you just stop by early in the evening and say hello? You don't even have to remind them that their house was recently on the market. You could simply ask this question. Hi, folks, I was in the neighborhood and I just wondered, when are you planning on moving? Pretty simple question. Sometimes we think we need long scripts and dialogues and all these different things. You know what? We're just trying to find out who's motivated enough to sell. And if you talk to enough people and ask them that question, when are you planning on moving? You're going to do a lot of business. If you talk to more people and ask that question than I do, even with all my experience, you're going to do way more business than me all day long. So let me kind of revamp and reposition this real quickly for you on expired and canceled listings. They fired their realtor. They need to sell. You're going to work harder than the other realtors. You're going to make more phone calls. You're going to have a nice packet at the front door. You're going to get to the front door if they're close by. If they're far away, you're just going to keep calling more often. You're going to be more diligent. You're going to be disruptive, and you're going to get more of the immediate business. You're also maybe going to research older expired listings and realize that those individuals may also be looking for a realtor. They may be ready to put their home back on the market, and you want to make sure that you're top of mind when they make that decision. That's 8 touches over 8 weeks, and there may be 1 touch every month. 8 touches over 8 weeks for an expired listing that's older. If they're in your farm, you're already touching them. Go see them. This really, really is easy. I have some PDF examples of some handouts you can use, of some flyers you can use, so double check your PDFs. And make sure that you listen to the audio session where I simply do some scripts and dialogues for you on working with expired listings. This doesn't have to be difficult. It's certainly not intimidating. You know what? I've worked expired listings for a long time in my real estate career, and I've had a few people that were just a little bit rude. Most people are pretty darn nice, or worst case scenario, they simply tell you they're not interested, and they either hang up the phone or they shut the door. That's always good news because you can just move on to someone that's motivated that you can do business with. So go out today. Do your expired listing research. Go on Google and type in expired listings. Listen to some of the scripts and dialogues different individuals are using. There's some systems online. I don't know that I would buy any of them. There's always somebody going to sell you some letters so you don't have to pick up the phone. I'd be very hesitant on that, but you can still listen to what they're doing. So learn a little about, it'll help you find a voice, but more importantly, go visit an expired and canceled listing today. If you visited 3 expired and canceled listings each afternoon, that would be 15 a week. You're going to get at least 1 listing a month just by putting them on your route, stopping by, introducing yourself, leaving some information, and staying out on that route and meeting folks. Remember, it's just 1 great appointment, 1 great seller that gets you 1 great paycheck. Thanks for your time.